Hey everyone, it's Frankie, and boy have I had an interesting day. Ooh, let me tell you all about it. We were miles up in the air, fighting a dragon while standing on a train, and we were kicking his big red ass, let me tell you. We managed to knock Flynn off though, and for a split second he was in a lot of trouble. I was pretty worried. Don't tell anyone that. But Murphy, he told the A sisters what was happening, and the administrator caught him right in the nick of time. Oh, my life. It's us and the holy servants that didn't stand a chance. I was thinking about sending him home, but it took him out for approaching the city and breaking some truce they had. Poor guy. I thought maybe I could have helped him. He was just hungry. Anyway, we got invited to dinner with Silver, and there was some pretty intense dinner drama, and we found out the Emperor, he's been dead for 2 years, and our city has no one ruling it. Things are getting pretty sticky around here, but don't worry, your boy Frankie's gonna fix everything. I just need to figure out how.
Kia ora everybody, and welcome to the Terrible Adventures of the Janison Griffiths Parchment Company, episode 50.
Wow.
Yeah, we officially have reached a half century doing JBPC episodes. That is
crazy.
Wicked. So close, and then we can stop doing this. My name is Penny D. I'll be your DM today, and my celebrity husband. Okay, I'm cheating a little bit because I know they're not like a movie star, but it's Dave Grohl.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He seems like such a sweetie.
No matter what Dave Grohl is doing, I will participate in it. I'll watch it. I'll listen to it. Apparently, he's just the super nice rock star. He's also in a ton of movies and stuff and like plays characters, and he played the devil in the Pick of Destiny and that. But my celebrity husband...
Did he?
Yeah, he plays the devil in the Pick of Destiny.
I need to watch that movie.
I didn't know that.
It's actually not bad.
It's quite funny.
Yeah. But yeah, my celebrity husband, Dave Grohl.
All right. Hi, I'm Poppy. I play Idopher the Tiefling Rogue. And my celebrity husband would be Pedro Pascal.
Nice.
Pedro Pascal. He has only just taken over Henry Cavill because I watched The Last of Us. And he was fantastic.
Is it good?
It's so good.
Cool.
Like, in terms of it's just in terms of series in general, but it's really like, because you know how all video game movies suck?
Yeah.
This one doesn't. Well, this series doesn't. Anyway, Pedro Pascal.
Solid choice. Good choice.
Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I play Frankie, the human artificer, and my celebrity husband would have to be Henry Cavill.
Nice. Yeah.
Always has been.
Keeping it classic.
Keeping it classic.
Very nice.
And not just because of his looks, but also he is also very nerdy.
He's a proper nerd as well, eh?
Proper
Like
nerd.
Warhammer.
Yes. Yeah, he does have also anxiety. His dog is an emotional support dog as well. So I'm like, you know what? I can vibe with that.
It's kind of nice to know that Superman has some anxiety.
Yes.
We can all kind of vibe with that.
Hi, I'm Nathan, and I'm playing Flynn the Halfling Bard, your favourite salesperson. Sometimes salesperson. So I am old school. I have long-term attachments to people. So back in the day, during the Roswell era, playing Max Evans was Jason Behr, so throwback to that time frame. But also, Poppy, you reminded me, he played Frank in The Last of Us, but Murray Bartlett, I always say his last name wrong, but I've since like he was in Tales of Cities, and he's just like, if Jason Behr was like my husband, Murray would be like my man side
Isn't he gorgeous?
He's so freaking lovely and delicious and
An Australian.
oh yes,
I
and a
love an
mustache.
Australian accent.
So
I really
good.
do.
Thirst trap. Anyway, he's my side piece.
Damn, if we're doing
My throuple.
if we're doing side pieces, I've got two as well. Look, ever since I watched The Princess Diaries, and nobody really stood out to me, and then a couple of years later I watched The Princess Diaries 2, I've always been a Chris Pine girl.
How appropriate for today's day and age playing Dungeons and Dragons.
In the Battle of the Chris's, he's always been my number one. Always been my number one Chris.
I like how, like, kind of, you know, he's kind of the underrated Chris, I think.
He is the underrated Chris.
So, like,
I've
no
always
one
felt
brings
like
up
that.
Chris Pine if they bring up the other Chris's.
It's because he's not one of the Marvel superheroes.
That's
the other ones
right.
are,
Yeah.
in a group together.
But he seems lovely.
He seems really nice, and in all of his recent interviews from the D&D movie, relevance. He just seems like he's really puts himself into his roles, and he really enjoys doing stuff, and he likes having a good time, and he keeps talking about how much he thinks Dungeons and Dragons is cool, and I'm like, yeah, awesome, I love that guy. But also Jack Black is my side piece.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, if we're allowed side pieces, I think the three of us can go.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nick Offerman from
Oh my
me.
gosh,
Oh
just
my
gonna say that,
God.
damn it. He's such a sweetie.
But yeah, it's been 5 minutes since men had all the attention, so congratulations to all the men for being actually nice dudes.
Hotties.
Yeah, well done. So it's episode 50. We just killed a dragon. We did some other stuff.
This isn't a man podcast. This is a D&D.
This isn't a thirsty thirst podcast. This is a D&D podcast. Do you guys want to play some Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I want to talk about men more. Just kidding, I want to play.
It's midwinter now.
Ooh.
The city is covered in snow. Winter woolly stalls have popped up out of nowhere. Everyone's draped in scarves and mittens as they go about their business. The Warforged guards are doubling up with snowplow duty, keeping the streets clear for the carts and carriages. And in Karen Stonecutter's warm, well-decorated living room, a long-promised dinner party has just taken place. Party? How was the party? What did you bring? Who'd you bring with you? What would you bring for the potluck?
A potluck is a little bit, it was more like if you wanted to bring anything else, you could have, because Karen hosts like a demon.
What did you bring for if you want to bring a plate, but not necessary?
Not necessary, but everything was fully catered, but there's a little bit of room for experimentation within the dishes.
So, like, we brought our families. Is that what happened?
If you want, you brought whoever you wanted to.
Yeah. Did you bring the assassin?
No.
Oh my god.
So, Idopher, did you bring your mum and dad?
Yeah, I did actually. And my mum, like, we all walk up to Karen together, and I hand Karen this really nice, like, green bean casserole that my mum made.
Oh.
I'm like, it's actually really good. Even though it's vegetables, it's delicious.
Oh, I'm sure it's fantastic. Thank you so much. All of you, please come in.
Flynn, who did you bring with you?
Oh, I bring Cassie.
Nice.
Oh, cute.
Oh, forgot about her.
Did you bring Nimbus with you?
I did as well. Yes.
So you brought your butler and your platonic lady.
That is the
Yeah.
most, like,
And
wealthy thing, eh?
and I my other plus one. And I also brought a 3-tier cake, and one side of the cake is like perfectly like presented, and the other side is like kind of like a 12-year-old decorated it.
Oh, because you decorated that side.
Yeah, Flynn's like really proud that he helped decorate the cake with his mum. His mum sent a cake on his behalf, and I was like, I'll help because it's for my friends.
She's a great job, Flynn.
Yeah, and you can see where she's tried to like blend the pieces in. Like she's tried real hard to be like, good job. And even Nimbus is slightly embarrassed but proud, like as he carries it.
Frankie, who did you bring with you? And did you bring anything to eat?
Frankie brought his sisters, because, they deserve a little night out. And Frankie didn't bring a plate because you didn't read that part of the application. So Frankie didn't bring food.
He just like emptied his pockets of some old sandwiches and like tucked them onto the like club sandwich plate.
They got quickly spirited away by Karen.
Yeah, so I share my sandwich.
So the scene that we're going to do is a little bit after the party. We've all finished eating, everything's been cleared. We actually had a really nice time with, our loved ones all mingling with each other. No mention of magic or dragons or, deceased emperors. It was just nice people having a nice time together and actually enjoying one another's company in just a regular, normal way. But at the moment, the kids, the parents, Flynn's butler Nimbus, all the dates and everyone who we've brought with us have retired to the living room to play games and drink wine near the fireplace. And so Karen, Flynn, Frankie and Idopher have moved to the kitchen to help with the dishes and clean up. And to talk together with a little bit of privacy. Just as a time frame, this is probably about 7 days since the dinner at the palace.
So who's on washing and who's drying?
I'm definitely drying. And he's doing it really bad.
I feel like Frankie and Ida would have like rock, paper, scissors.
No, we can do that if you want.
Yeah, but I feel like Ida would have somehow
cheated.
And then Frankie would have noticed, and so we'd bad at rock, paper, scissors, or whatever the D&D equivalent is. And Frankie would have lost, and he's trying his best to also just wash without like dropping the plates, because when you're washing, it's slippery, China. But so he's just.
Is Karen terrified?
Karen's watching this with interest. Actually, she doesn't.
She didn't use the best china then.
No, she did not use the best china. She's a pretty good cook, but she doesn't spend too much time washing up. So she is watching with interest to see what you two do.
I imagine that's probably Barry's job, like cleaning up the kitchen.
Here's that husband.
Yeah. And she's like, no, go and relax, darling, go and relax. And he's going to come in later and he's going to be like, I need to redo all of these dishes.
Yeah.
I wish it could have gone a different way with Fedor.
He kind of like...
he brought it upon himself.
Pretty much, yeah.
Probably knew their rules and laws around the...
Oh, he totally did, yeah. That's why Riki was so, like, he was like, alright, I'm gapping it.
Yeah. I mean, I know it was part of their laws, but I don't know. I feel like it was a bit of a waste,
Yeah, I get that.
This problem with the weave keeps these incredible magical beings powerless and frightened. I don't like it. Something's got to change. I just don't know how to change it yet.
What are our thoughts around finding the stray sister?
We got her.
I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
Well, I did suggest putting up like a private tutoring job.
Did you do it? You've had a week.
Did you do it?
No, I haven't done it yet. I haven't got very good handwriting.
We could use the printing press.
I sent word to my sister in the hives, but she hasn't heard of anything. So I feel pretty confident that nothing's happening down south. Does Murphy have any leads? I know he's got a lot of contacts with his underground business.
He says no.
Actually, is Murphy here?
That's up to Frankie.
Yeah, like I would have been like, hey, Karen's having this dinner party and you're 100% totally invited. I'm sure she won't mind.
Roll me a persuasion check.
That's an 11.
It was a bit domestic for him. You asked him if he wanted to hang out and he was into it. But then when you said that, your entire family and everybody else's families and Flynn's butler and everyone was going to be there, it was a little bit too domestic for him. And he made up an excuse. He didn't want to hurt your feelings, but he's not here.
Oh, he's not ready to.
Got a little bit too serious for him, a little bit too quick, huh? Wow.
Ida's like smiling like to himself, just like,
Oh, what did you chop?
But anyway, you guys are talking about all the stuff, and you hear a knock on the kitchen door, and Barry has come in. Obviously, you made your pact to be more honest with Barry, so he knows what you guys have been up to. And he comes in and he's sort of, wiping his hands on a towel, and he's like, "Hey, I just wanted to check that you guys are all okay."
Beza!
Okay.
Did that dragon hurt you guys?
Nah, we're all good, man. How are you doing?
I mean, I did fall and get 8 damage.
Nah, you're fine. Flynn was fine.
8 damage, you say? Damn.
They're getting better. We're getting there.
What happened to the dragon? Like, once upon a time, the Emperor would have mounted it up in the city center as like a display of his power, but if it wasn't for you guys,
funny display of power.
Not mounted it, like put it up on the wall.
Idopher.
And that's why he didn't last as emperor.
But like, if it wasn't for Karen, I wouldn't have heard about it at all. So,
Well, I presume the officials wanted to keep it very quiet, but I'm not entirely sure where it ended up, actually.
Yeah, the Warforged took it away. We saw it dragging it away, and that's kind of it.
The dragon got
dragging it away.
Dragging the dragon.
Also, Mr. Onagon, I was wondering if I could get you to hold on to this, and he picks up like an entire like chicken carcass, and then he picks Welby out of it. And he's like, someone's going to see this, so maybe you should hold on to it.
Welby! Good boy. Welby, you should have eaten the carcass.
No. Thank you, my dear.
You can crunch the chicken bones, but you just have to be careful.
He's
no cooked bones.
Oh.
No cooked bones. He's very friendly.
Oh yeah, I thought he was going to bite me, but he sent me a little picture in my head that was a picture of you, so who's to say?
It was a threat.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine?
I'll sit Karen on you. And so after dinner, you guys pack up your families and your kids and your dates and your butlers, and you each
I put it in my suitcase.
and you each head out into the snow toward home. Idopher, can you
Yes.
please roll me a perception check?
Sure can. It is a 21.
Nice. Ido, you're on your way home. You're kind of trailing behind your parents a little bit, as teenagers want to do. They kind of walk by themselves.
Yeah, we do.
You're burying your face in your scarf. When you happen to just look to the left, and you stop in your tracks. Not 3 doors down, a little side street, you can see Amity. He's leaning up against a door and he's like stretching.
Oh my god.
He's like, he's stretching out his hammies and like kind of warming up his body a little bit. He just looks like he's preparing for something.
Great.
Hey, Mum and Dad. I am just gonna nip in and see a friend who lives just down here. I will be back home in a little bit.
They're fine with that. They know that you can take care of yourself, so they carry on by themselves.
Sweet, alright. As soon as they're out of view, I go up to Amity. I'm like, hello.
Oh, hello, Idopher. This might not be the best time.
Wait, this wasn't a planned visit?
I'm sort of in the middle of something right now. Do you think we could talk later? And on the other side of the door that you're like standing outside, you hear a shattering glass and a bunch of people shouting. And he's like, sounds like we've begun. Come on then.
Oh, okay.
And Amity burns 2 Electrum coins and casts a spell on the door, which swings open and reveals a chaotic scene. Inside of the house, it's not actually a home. It looks like a home from the outside, but it's like a hollowed out warehouse on the inside. And what you can see, there's several mafia goons who are fighting with a grizzly bear with a big white stain on its face. Amity steps forward, his hands crackling with purple lightning, and he says, be a good lad and give us a hand then.
Oh, of course! And I bring out my comments back up and my sickle.
Cool.
And I feel like this isn't actually, it's not meant to be like a fight scene, is it? So I can just say that I kicked ass.
Yeah, we're basically we're going to do a little scene where you can do some cinematic moves, but I'm not going to make you roll.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
In the room, there's like a dozen or so, like classic mafia guys with the cheese cutters and the suspenders, and a bunch of them are fighting this enormous grizzly
There's like a
bear.
horse head somewhere for some reason.
Like the first cool thing that happens is Amity levitates like 3 of them in the air, and Mol just like barges them straight into a wall, like just rams them in. 2 humans charge at you at the same time from either side. How do you deal with them?
Okay, so what I'm going to do is this is just for theatrics.
Just for
There's
theatrics.
no
Do whatever
use.
you want.
I'm gonna like quickly transform into a bunny so that like as they're running towards me from either side, they smash into each other.
Oh, very nice.
Because when I'll go down.
And they probably stab each other too, because if they're both coming at you with weapons and you like suddenly gone, they would stab each other.
Nice. So yes, that's how I dispatch them.
Do you turn back into Idopher after that?
What else is happening?
At the moment, Amity's turning one guy into a mouse, and then Mole eats him.
Oh, there's a bear.
Is there anyone else?
Yeah, there's 4 guys all rushing you all at once.
Okay, sweet. Just in a big group?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're all running towards me.
Yeah, as a bunny.
And I'm a bunny, and I'm just standing there, like, looking at them. They come towards me, I go through the legs of the guy directly in front of me, and I jump up to, like, kick him in the back. But as I jump up with the power of a bunny, I turn back into Ido to have a kick with the power of a human.
Oh my
Well
Or a
gosh.
tiefling, I should say, sorry. So I kick him, and then there's these other 3 guys like, what the hell? And then I just swipe at them with my sickle.
Nice.
I imagine, I hope this isn't too brutal, because sickle is hook-shaped.
Yeah.
So I'd put it around the neck of someone.
One of them just got eaten by a bear, so.
Yeah, and then just kind of like swing around their neck to get the other people with my other sword.
That's amazing. That's so cool. That guy's super dead. A wall of fire burns across the room, which causes several goons to jump out of the broken window that the grizzly bear made. And then there's only one guy left. It's a muscular-looking half-elf wielding a large, like, big 2-handed hammer. Amity steps forward and goes to zap him with magic, but then he stops himself and he turns to you, Idopher, and he says, he's all yours.
Oh.
Thanks. He'd be taller than me?
Yeah, big guy.
Okay, why don't you start off the roleplay as this fella?
Big guy steps forwards and, like, goes to a big overhead swing with the hammer, so coming, like, over and down towards your head.
Okay, I'm gonna, like, crouch down I'm going to use my sickle to grab his calf
Okay.
and like hook myself closer to him so I get pulled out of the way of the hammer.
Okay. Roll me a... This feels like a tricky thing, so I'm going to say a sleight of hand check.
Thank
This
you.
feels like a tricky move.
That's a good attack.
22.
Yeah, nice. You absolutely do that, and the hammer like comes down behind you and like crushes through the floorboards where you were a minute ago. And you have like cut this guy's leg a little bit, but then he's going to use the handle of his hammer to try and butt you in the face because you're down sort of at like waist height for him. So he's
Yeah.
going to like bring it forwards and try and stun you by hitting you in the nose.
Okay, I'm gonna try and use the sickle to like pull myself through his legs, like kind of do a bit of a slide through his legs, and then I am going to, I think just while I'm going through his legs, I'll use my rapier to just stab upwards.
Can you just roll me a athletics check?
Nat 20.
Nice.
That was very convenient.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. You do exactly what you just described.
Yes.
Do some really cool like sword play and acrobatics play, and you manage to like completely put this guy down. And you look over at Amity, and he is really impressed.
Aww.
Amity's kind of out of breath, but he moves swiftly to the back room where he peels back the rug, and there's like a trap door with a bunch of locks on it. And he starts to get to work casting spells on each of the locks. And then Mole, who's no longer a bear, he approaches you and he's like, "Nice job. I'm glad you joined us."
Thanks, Mole. Like, I know he's past the point now he can't pretend that he's like all cool with it and stuff. He's just so excited. And he's so glad that he was able to impress these two. It's just,
Mole like pats you on the shoulder and then transforms into a little terrier, and he trots off back out the way you came towards the door. And Amity like looks up at you, watching him, and he nods towards the locks, and he's like, "Oh, you're good with locks, aren't you?
Sure
You wanna
am.
Give me a hand."
Absolutely.
So you roll me a couple of checks with your thieves' tools to unlock some locks.
Okay. How many locks are there?
Let's say you got to do 4 while he does the other 4.
Okay, sweet. I'll quickly roll these so we can like pepper them through the conversation. So I got 12 for one of them, 16 for another, 13, and a 23.
Cool, thanks very much.
Alright, so while I'm working through those locks, I'm like, so... And he kind of blanks a little bit because he's got like a whole bunch of questions on his mind. But I think because we've been talking about the academic, that's kind of the first thing that comes to mind. So he's like, have you heard of this... Actually, I should probably ask, do you know about these like sisters and all their names begin with A?
Are you talking about the Holy Servants?
That's the one? Yes. Okay, good. You do know about them. Do you know anything about the academic?
A little. She's the smart one.
Do you know where she might be?
No.
Oh, okay.
I know she's not around here anymore, but we haven't spoken in a pretty long time.
Oh, okay. I also wanted to ask about Poet. Like, what is your actual relationship with him?
Oh, I don't know him that well. He's a servant of Master Speck. We've met. Roll me a persuasion check.
9.
Look, the only thing that I really know about him is that he made a big sacrifice.
Oh,
He sold his soul to a creature beyond this world.
interesting. Has he got anything to do with my parents?
I'm sorry, I really don't know him that well.
Okay, that's alright. I guess I'm just kind of like, on this journey to find out more about my birth, but...
The only other thing I really know is the reason he sold his soul was to protect someone whom he thought was precious.
But yeah, I'm kind of just on this journey to figure out what happened to my parents, because while I love my current parents, I think everyone... I want to know what the deal is. Do you know? You got any insights for me? Because I feel like you probably do.
The thing about these kinds of questions, Idopher, is that once you know the answers to them, you can never unknow them. I don't think you're ready.
I am pretty confident that there are spells out there that could get rid of the information. So if I didn't like it, I'd just ask someone to get rid of it, but,
He kind of looks at you up and down a little bit, and he says, I know your mother quite well. Haven't seen her for a long time. I don't think it's my place.
Yo, she not dead? I just kind of assumed she was dead. I assumed both my parents were dead.
I think if I told you today, I would break your heart.
Probably. Alright then.
That's such a teenage response.
Well, he's kind of a bit frustrated, right? Like, he just wants to know, because, he thinks that that's all he wants to know. But anyway, he finishes the last lock, and he's like, alright, what happens next?
So Amity also finishes his locks. Something weird happens. Can you just roll me a d20?
11.
Something really weird happens is that he goes to pull up the trapdoor, and there's a click, and then in your head, you're like, oh shit, because an explosion comes out of the trapdoor. But then Amity kind of like says, no! And he twists his hands around. And it actually wasn't an 11, and it was like a 25. And you look up, and you realize that, like, no, you weren't caught in an explosion. He just tackled you over, and you're on the ground.
Wait, sorry, what?
You're very confused. Two things happened simultaneously. One of them was the trapdoor was trapped, and an explosion went off. And the other thing that happened was you weren't caught in the explosion. You were tackled to the side, and you were not affected by the trap.
Sick.
Both of those things happened.
Yeah, okay, so I'm assuming Amity's on top of me.
He rolls off pretty quickly, and his body's so frail that, like, he kind of hurt himself a little bit just making that move.
I was going to say, you're okay, right, Amity?
Yeah, it's a, I'm not great at physical movement anymore.
How old are you?
I'm 199, I think I told you that already.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. Should we go down here?
Okay. So he goes back and lifts up the door. It's not like a room to climb down to. It's just a compartment. Like it's a little like safe-sized compartment, but it's actually empty.
Oh.
Like aside from the bomb that went off, there's nothing in here. And Amity punches the floor and damn him! I used a lot of Electrum to get in here, and it's the same all over town. Marvelous's stashes are all empty.
Wait, why are you looking through Marvelous's stashes?
When you stockpile a resource like Electrum, why split it up and keep it in different places?
So that if you happen to be at the place, you have access to a load of that thing?
But also so that it can't be stolen. You can't grab all of it at once.
Fair.
But given that you might have taken that measure, why would you then bring it all together?
To use it all at once?
That's right.
Okay.
I fear Mr. Marvelous is about to make his move.
I fear I'm about to leave this continent.
We should be very wary of what happens next.
Oh dear God.
Roll me a perception check.
14.
You hear a dog barking in the background, and Amity looks at you and he says, that's us. Time to be scarce. May I? And he holds out his hand to you.
Oh, yeah, sure. And he grabs Amnity's hand.
You feel odd wrenching sensation in your stomach, and your vision becomes a blur. And then you're back outside, crouched on a bench, 100 feet or so away from where Yamir City guards are approaching the same door that you and Amity just broke into.
Interesting. I'm like rubbing my eyes, kind of like, oh, what the hell was that? Oh, that was a cool trick.
Yeah, it's called Dimension Door. It's a
very cool,
pretty fun little spell.
Thanks for the alarm, Mol.
You watch the guards force their way into the space, and Amity pulls out that L-shaped tube that you've seen him breathe into before. Mm-hmm. He takes a deep breath and kind of stretches out an ache in his arm. You did good work today. And I expect the same from you in the future.
Absolutely. Happy to work with you guys again. You guys are so cool.
He slowly, painfully stands up and his knees crack a little as he stands. And he says, I'll be in touch. Thank you for your help.
Look after yourself, though, because you do seem a bit, roughened up this time.
I was born with the ability to alter timelines, and he looks at his hand and he says, takes a bit of a penalty on me.
I'm just like, what?
Take it easy, Idopher.
That little thread.
And with that, he walks off with Mole at his heels, and he looks down and says something to the dog, which your earring translates for you as he walks out of earshot. He just says, "It looks like we're going to have to go and see her."
Ooh.
Idopher, you've leveled up.
Woo!
So you're now level 11. Are you taking another level in Rogue?
Yeah, definitely. I'm just sticking with the rogue till the very end.
Roguing it.
Yeah, I'm roguing it. I don't get any real changes except...
You get I think you get a class ability this time from your subclass.
Well, I got something that says creatures have disadvantage reverse my spells when I'm hidden.
Yeah, so that's called Magical Ambush.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, which means that you can now cast spells as a stealth move if you want to.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Frankie.
Yep.
It's a couple of days after Karen's dinner party, and you're working away in your preferred workshop. Are you at home or are you at your hidden JVPC workshop?
I'm at the hidden one because that one's just a little bit better supplied because I'm totally not using work resources.
And you have a visitor. All the way from Ixingnia, Quisp the gnome has come to visit you in the city.
Quisp! Oh, Quisp, my old friend.
Before we get to what's happening in the workshop, what have the two of you gotten up to while they're visiting?
I would have shown Quisp, everything. Like, okay, this is the supply closet where I cry. This is the lunchroom where I cry. This is my house where I cry. And, I would have just been taking them to, all of my favorite spots.
Where you cry?
Where I cry
Yeah.
also. The library, and then show them the uni.
Did you take them to Murphy's?
Yes. Just,
This is my boyfriend's shop.
This is my boyfriend's shop. It's fine. It's cool. It's whatever. And yeah, I just would have just been literally being tour guide, showing them all the places that I think they might like as well. Okay, this is the shop sells actually really cool gizmos and gadgets. It's like a secondhand shop. Yeah. I find all this really cool stuff here, and just taking them around, showing them a nice time.
Of course. So that was what you've been up to for maybe the last 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Crisp came to visit you pretty quickly after the dinner party. And the two of you are working in your secret lab together on something that you've been corresponding about for almost the entire time you've known each other, which is you're trying to modify your gun.
Yes.
What I'm imagining is that you've got goggles on that make your eyes look really huge. You've got your goggles of minute seeing, and you're coming at it with really, really long tweezers.
Yep.
And Quisp is kind of sitting on a bench nearby, and they're like, "Hey, so this thing sent you flying to a different plane, huh?
Yes, it did.
So why are we messing about with it again?
For science. Wouldn't it be amazing to be able to harness that power? What if we were able to do this, but on purpose?
So tell me a little bit more about what happened when you used it. You said all the electrum in the area went bonkers. What do you think that was?
I don't know. I think it might have been to do with just... Maybe it's because, electrum isn't what we think it is.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, actually, because the place that you went to, the little yellow and red fish thing, right?
Yes.
One of them got you back here.
Yes, and I haven't been able to figure it out. And he looks up, and there's, a wall behind Quisp of just papers and drawings and little strings connected to other pieces of paper. And he's like, the math isn't mathing.
That's right. Because, it makes you wonder what electrum really is, because the green works the same as the red. One thing I figured out a long time ago, mucking about with inventions, things work consistently, right? Even magic has rules, cause, effect, systems. Could it be that electrum and those little wiggly things are the same thing?
That's what I was thinking. Because electrum, like you said, everything's consistent. But one thing I found is not consistent. Organic matter. What if electrum is somehow alive?
That is an interesting thought. Oh, look. And you managed to click the last little gadget that you're working on into place.
Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm going to make what I'm calling bullets. And each one is going to... I'm going to try and do it so that it could produce a different effect. Because, sometimes you need to kill something. And sometimes you need to kill something, but in a grander scale.
So can you go ahead and because you've got Quisp here to help you, can you please roll me a Arcana check with advantage?
That is a 17.
Yeah, I think that's a success. So Frankie, you have now obtained a new artificer spell focus.
So My new focus is a weapon that can be used as a substitute for any set of tools for casting artificer spells. A spell cast using, I'm not going to say the name yet, has a +1 to attack rolls and can add 1d6 force damage to the total damage dealt by the spell if the spell bonus was applied.
Yeah, so basically you can shoot spells extremely hard now to the point that you can add 1d6 force damage to any of your spells with attack rolls on them.
Yes, that's right. And it's so cool.
And what are you calling it?
I am calling it a BB gun, which stands for Black Magic Blaster Gleaming Unilateral Neutralizer.
Oh my god, I love it! I love it!
Yes.
So Quisp and Frankie take turns practicing with the gun. And it's a good thing you soundproofed your lab and then later fireproofed it before Quisp goes a little quiet. Hey, so I was digging around in my dad's old stuff and I wondered if I might be able to find something to help you out. And I found this. Wondering if you might be able to make any sense of it. And Quisp hands you a torn out page from a notebook.
Ooh, read it out loud.
Go ahead and describe it to us.
Read it out loud at the podcast.
Okay.
Steph has got a fascinated look on their face right now.
Ooh.
So, trying to describe this, it looks like a cutaway diagram of
Something.
something.
It's a cross-section diagram of something.
Cross-section diagram of something. There's something that is, a part of it is spongy, but it's different. Super compact.
There's a bunch of notes with arrows pointing at different pieces of it.
Yeah, it's labeled quite nicely, but also not. Like, nothing is, like, this is an elbow, for example. It's like, this is a super hardened vessel, and this is a paradox. And
Just read out the labels to me one at a time.
okay, so we have super hardened vessels. We have extreme density. You can't see my face, but I pulled a face. Yet magically non-existent. Usually spongy. Why is this different? Super compact. And next to it, it says this is a paradox with a globe and an X on a landmass and a circle. It's circled pile of something next to a tree.
And on top of it, it says...
Is the Chronoscar? The Chronoscar.
Chronos, like time.
Yes.
And Quisp says to you, look, I got no idea what any of this means, but I thought maybe it might come in handy for you.
Thank you.
Is that an identifiable landmass on the globe?
You can't ask that question because you haven't seen this yet.
Yeah.
Is that an identifiable landmass on the globe?
Roll me an intelligence check.
That's an 11.
The thing is that I think it is more about the planet because the land masses don't look familiar to you. It's probably more about the planet itself.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Strange yet fascinating.
So Frankie, it's later in the day. You're back home and you're preparing for bed in the same way you have every night since you returned from Tarago Nook.
Frankie, in his head, likes to imagine, like, things are flying to him and he's putting them on and he's just like, yeah, pajama on, nightcap on, slippers on.
Little mask comes to, like, a little sleeping mask over your eyes.
Yeah.
You, like, touch a little wooden bird that you've enchanted to play rain noises.
Yeah.
And you've got like an extra couple of blankets. You've got a nice little weighted blanket.
Yeah, he sprays some like lavender extract on his pillow. He's like, sleep mode, activate. And he just like face plants into the bed.
Frankie's all tucked up and ready to go fishing for bluebirds.
Yeah.
It's been a bit more than a week at this point. While you're certainly more rested than usual each morning, you've had no luck up until now. You slowly drift into a slight slumber, but soon you get up, frustrated that you can't seem to dream tonight. You walk out of your room and down the sideways stairs to the kitchen, where you pour a glass of water from the petrified goose you keep next to the pile of slowly mutating corpses in the corner. You stare up at the infinitely spiraling ceiling in exasperation, wondering when answers will come to you.
We didn't have this goose here before.
It's a nice water jug, I guess.
Oh. Yes, it's just a water jug.
And you realize that, like, the person who just complimented your water jug is, in fact, a little bluebird who's sitting on your kitchen bench. There's a skull with horns on it, but one of the horns has been kind of filed down, and he's sitting on the other horn.
Oh. Yeah, thank you. I think it was a gift from my... Hey, wait a minute! Where have you been?
Wait, you remember me?
Of course I do.
Oh, that's weird. People don't usually remember me.
Oh, yeah, no, I think about you all the time. I've told all my friends about you and no one believes me. Or maybe they do.
Wait, do you know who I am?
Yes? Are you're Dalton, right?
Oh, shit. And he starts flying around a bit panicked. But then after a moment he settles and he's like, okay, usually if people know who they're talking to, they tend to wake up pretty quickly. That's right. I'm Dalton, God of Dreams. I used to have another name, but it's so hard to remember now. Timon something? I don't know. Anyway, this is a pretty weird dream. Are you okay?
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to summon you for a while.
Oh, you need to stop trying to control your dreams or you'll wake up.
Oh, okay.
Just let it flow naturally. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Frankie says that, and then he just takes off his slippers because he feels like that's him uncontrolling his dream. I don't know.
They grow little legs and crawl away.
I hope I find those later. Anyway, man, some stuff has been happening, and I'm hoping maybe you can help us. What's going on? What is this? And he gestures oddly to where he thinks his wall of notes would be, because he hung up his...
And it appears, as you think of it.
What is this?
It appears to be the work of a madman.
Oh my gosh.
You got me there.
So rough.
I do get a little angry sometimes. He doesn't actually connect there. He's like, yeah, I do get mad sometimes, but time? Does this have anything to do with Electrum? And does this have anything to do with what happened to Magic and Ido's parents and the academic? And he's saying all these things expecting Dalton to actually know what the hell he's talking about.
Look, we can hang out and rant if you want to, but we've probably got a few minutes before your dream starts breaking down, so I can answer some questions for you, or we can just kind of shout words if that's what you want to do.
You could shout words
ice
if
cream.
it's the answer. No,
And a bunch of
Damn.
ice cream appears.
Dalton's a little bit sassy, huh? Dalton's a little bit sassy.
I'm really sorry. Look, I've been trapped in people's dreams for 150 something years, and it's a harrowing existence, because if someone wakes up while I'm in their dream, I might disappear. So I gotta really make sure that I'm hopping from thing to thing. It's
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's pretty frightening.
Frankie shook. 150 years. Is that the same time
ish.
that everything happened? Oh, the gods disappeared, but you're still here.
Yeah, I can't go back to the plane of the gods for some reason. I used to like to dreamwalk and give people advice and do my job, appear in people's dreams and help them out and make them feel okay. And then one day I was doing it and I just couldn't go back. And so I've just been stuck dream hopping.
That's how you survived the massacre, I assume.
Hang on, what?
I mean,
Oh my God.
I don't know if it's a massacre, but some stuff happened. Are you not aware?
Look, I've been dream hopping, so it's hard to really tell what's real and what's in people's imaginations. But I know what happened before.
And he sits down, and what?
Well, I lived a whole lifetime studying dreams, how to, control them and, lucidity and interpreting them. I think that's a word. I'm fascinated by the subconscious mind. And so what do you think that means? And he points above your head and there's an enormous galaxy-sized red and yellow swirl, angrily swirling around above you. And he's like, that's kind of frightening that it's hanging over your head. Are you okay?
PTSD. That's what we're trying to figure out. I'm okay physically, but I think it's to do with Electrum and all of this that has to do with...
What's Electrum?
He pulls out his gun. But
just starts spilling blue coins out of it.
Yeah, this is...
like a slot machine.
Yeah, it's what we use to sort of generate our magic.
Wait, you can't just cast magic?
No, not anymore.
But before I was here, everyone could just do spells. Can I have a look at that? And he flies over and lands on the Electrum coin. This is kind of new, isn't it?
Yes. This is what I'm trying to figure out. It's all connected. When the magic disappeared and the gods left,
I wonder if this has anything to do with those god-killing crusaders.
I think so. I witnessed that. I witnessed at least one. It was the goddess of the harvest?
That was the first one.
Yes. It seemed like a pretty horrid affair.
Somewhere kind of far away, you can hear like a deep rumbling, and the edges of your dream are starting to shake a little bit. And he looks over and he's like, okay, we've only got a couple of minutes. And he opens a little portal, and on the other side of the portal, you can see a classroom and hear some people laughing about someone who didn't wear pants.
No.
And he's like, all right, I'll leave through here. Just one thing. Do you know a guy called Master Spec?
Yes.
Don't trust him. He is not who he says he is. Do not trust that monstrosity in the cloak that he travels with.
No.
Oh shit. I'm sorry, I gotta go. And your dream starts like crumbling in from all sides. Right as the bluebird like escapes out the little portal into the classroom.
Oh, phew, he got out.
And you kind of lay in bed with your eyes closed for a minute. And you realize you can still hear that rumbling.
Oh.
And you open your eyes and you realize that it's Quisp just snoring on your floor.
Okay. Oh, phew. It wasn't just a earthquake. I gotta talk to them about that. That doesn't seem healthy. But anyway.
Frankie, you've leveled up.
Yay!
So you're now Artificer level 11.
That is excellent, and I'm so excited.
Pretty simple level up this time around. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. When it loads, which actually is really good how it coincides with the weapon I got, because I now get a spell storing item. So at 11th level, I learn how to store a spell in an object. Whenever I finish a long rest, I can touch a simple or martial weapon or one item that I can use as a spell casting focus, and I store a spell in it, choosing a first or second level spell from the artificial list that requires one action to cast.
I think it also doesn't have to be one that you've prepared, right? Like it can be one you don't know.
You needn't
Oh,
have it prepared.
interesting.
So that coincides quite nicely with
Yeah.
my new spellcasting focus.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool. Nice little ability that you've got.
Yeah, so that's me. And Frankie just jumps up and also goes to the bathroom because he's like, you know what, I'm awake. I better go while I'm awake.
You certainly got some things to think about.
Yes, I do.
Kia ora, Penny here. Just a couple of announcements and then we'll finish up the episode. A heads up that this will be our last episode for a couple of months. I will be working on the Yes and charity stream, which goes live for 24 hours in the last weekend of August. And then we'll be back with the last stretch of the show. Not going to spoil anything right here, but if you keep an eye on our socials, I will announce the next episode release at the beginning of September. In the meantime, check out Yes and Charity Stream on all the socials for what me and a bunch of cool Kiwi people are working on until then. Thank you very much to our patrons over on Patreon for their donations. James Courtwright, Samsara, Waffles loves you and is hoping you have a good day. Claire McDonald, Jules Bergesser, Violet, Shobna Lee, Alex Moore, Lyndon Hood, Jesse Wesson, Disturbed One NZ, Andrew Evans, Luna Chris, and William Evans. You guys have really held us up over the last year and I so appreciate it. If you're curious about our bonus content, including that little handout that Frankie just got in the last scene, or you'd like to become a supporter of the terrible adventures of the Janice and Breakfast Parchment Company, go check out patreon.com/jbpcpodcast to become a supporter for just a few bucks a month. Music credits thanks to Brian Bolger for Black Mass and Switched On Karkasi, DivKid for Commander Impulse, Nathan Moore for Diving In Backwards, Asher Falero for Forest Lullaby, Diala for ILY Baby, Esther Abrami for Number 2 Remembering Her, Truck Tribe for Lawrence, God Mode for Melancholia, Mini Vandals for Lobe and Out on My Skateboard, Telecasted for Riding Into the Sun, and Unicorn Heads for The Stoic and the Sailor. On a personal note from me, thank you everyone for sticking with us for this long. I'm really, really proud that we got to our 50th episode and that we've been able to tell this story in our own time and in our own way. Special thanks to Steph, Liz, Poppy, and Nate for just being the most flexible and fun players I could have asked for this project. The final stretch of the show will be 3 more huge arcs, so I hope you'll come back and join us as we wrap up everything from September, probably through to 2024. Thanks again for being here. Flynn, you've been feeling kind of restless since you arrived back in Yamir City. You can feel a buzz in the air, and it's enough to keep you constantly looking over your shoulder. Maybe it's this agitation that makes you feel relieved one day. On the train home, someone sits down next to you and starts reading a newspaper, and you hear that person say, "Don't react. I got something that I need you to see.
Oh.
If you're available, just fiddle with your briefcase."
Flynn fiddles with his briefcase. He just clicks it open, like, click, 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 click.
There's no reaction from the mysterious newspaper reader, but at the next stop, they quickly roll up their paper and proceed to the exit.
You hear like a little chirp from Flynn's hat.
You should follow.
Oh yes, I follow. Yep.
You follow the person off the train and off the platform, past some guards and down the stairs to the main street. You're still in the West District and not too far away from where Ace Alley used to be. You follow a bit further when suddenly Murphy catches up from behind you. He puts his hand on your back and he says, "Attaboy, keep it on going now."
What?
And you look ahead and you realize that the person you've been following is actually Lyron the Goose Boy, who's wearing like a cloak and a hat so that he kind of looks like Murphy.
Nice.
He nods slightly and he slinks away. And Murphy's like, "Yeah, don't worry about him. Normally I try to give you your space, but this is kind of urgent. Things don't sit on the shelf at the Marquet Obsidian, so you're gonna have to walk with me, okay?"
Wait. I don't understand what you said, but yes, I'm walking. The Marquis of Obsidian?
Yeah, it's a competing business. Don't worry, it kind of sucks, but you'll see.
Nice.
And so Murphy's walking really briskly, but for you with such short legs, you have to really bustle to keep up with him. We don't get too many opportunities to just chat, do we?
Yeah.
You're an Onagon, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
What's it like being the son of old Fledgewick?
Yeah, it's an honor, but there's a lot of it's draining. He like kind of answers and then he's like, "Hey, hang on. How do you? I mean, I know that they're well known, but how do you know them?"
Dude, he's a weapons dealer and we ain't at war. I don't know him personally, but we run in similar circles.
Does my dad sell to the black market?
Look, here's the thing about being a businessman. You know it as well as I do. You gotta keep pushing wins, and people get in the way of that. I'm surprised he even had a kid. The way he hustles.
Yeah, that kind of fits.
Hold on, this is us.
Oh, okay. What is this place?
Murphy walks up to a random brick wall and just leans against it casually. He gestures you to do the same.
Okay. He like he copies and he like crosses his little arms over his like chest, so he's like looking cool.
Across from you, there's like a mural, and it's on a brick wall as well. And you notice some of the bricks in the wall across from you begin to shift, and what looked like a painted tunnel turns into a real tunnel when the bricks all like pull back a little bit. And he's like, "Yeah, it's kind of amateur in terms of presentation, but whatever, does the job. Come on."
Amateur.
You walk to the tunnel and it stairs down, and you walk down the stairs, and after a few rotations of like spiral stairs, you can see this big underground market full of like shops, stalls, booths, all of them selling something shady or illegal.
Flynn's head's like going like as he takes
Roll me a perception check.
A 10.
Yeah, not a lot. You see a couple of stalls selling Warforged parts. You can see both blue and green Electrum for sale, and you can see spell scrolls. And there also seems to be like a fashion store that exclusively sells cheese cutter hats and suspenders.
That explains it.
You hit the bottom of the stairs, and 2 muscular tieflings in black suits move to stand in front of you. But Murphy doesn't stop walking. He's just like, "He's with me." And you got to keep walking with Murphy, but one of the tieflings puts a hand on your shoulder. And Murphy sees this and comes back and puts his face right in the guard's face, and he says, "Did I stutter? I said he's with me."
And Flynn's like, "Yeah." But he's like, his little heart's like pumping. He's like, oh my god, this is so illegal.
And a high-pitched voice cuts through beyond the guards. You can't be too careful these days, Murphy, darling. A simple voucher just isn't enough anymore.
Oh my god, I love her. What the?
And a lavishly dressed gnome approaches from behind the guards, tiptoeing in like high-heeled shoes and positively dripping with overly manicured style. Oh crap, I just wrote, describe an outfit that makes Janison seem straight. Can you guys help me dress this gnome?
They have
Sequins?
Obviously sequins.
Yeah, tons of sequins.
But they have a headdress
Yeah.
that has bedazzled peacock feathers.
Beautiful. I'm going to say a pair of pants where both of the legs are different colors and different patterns. So one of them's like yellow with red polka dots and the other one's like pink and purple, like crisscrossing diamonds.
Yeah.
Like coloured koala Deville.
Yeah.
And like
yeah.
a huge train.
Yeah.
Oh, a huge train. Yes,
Huge train.
absolutely.
I want to say facial hair that like goes really long and is like plaited into different patterns as it gets further down. And just no eyebrows.
No eyebrows, of course
Yeah.
not. Bald headdress, big long beard, and it has a color gradient, and it goes from red by the mouth all the way down to like a pale orange at the bottom.
Oh,
Steph, anything to add?
I was going to say with the headdress, with the bedazzled peacock feathers, like it's an actual peacock
Yes.
that is just alive and just, chilling.
Alive.
Just like,
Sitting-
it's like, I'm just chilling.
A miniature peacock just
Yeah.
sitting on this person's
Like,
head.
it's free
And it's
to
also
leave.
wearing a little hat.
Yeah.
But, it doesn't wonder because it has a matching hat.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's living.
Matching
It's
peacock.
also best life.
I'm the proprietor of this here Marquee Obsidian and you are new. We don't allow ruffians, you see. No violence in the Marquee at all. That's the rule. I'm afraid to gain entry. You must answer me. These riddles 3.
Oh my god.
And Murphy cuts in and he's super annoyed and he's like, look, Northwest, fire, and the cleric was the boy's mother. It's the same 3 riddles every time. Jackass. And he puts his arm around your like shoulder, Flynn, and just like leads you in past the guards and the disappointed gnome. And he's like, I fucking hate that guy.
And Flynn's like, nice to meet you.
I
I
like
love your pants. That person's intense.
Yeah.
Intensely dressed.
In every way. It's so unprofessional.
I would have liked to have heard the riddles though, just to heard them.
Your DM didn't write any. The whole point was that I was supposed to answer them.
Love it.
You and Murphy continue through the Marquee Obsidian at a fairly brisk pace. Roll me a perception check, Flynn.
Flynn's like, so what's your favourite stall here? 8.
So you're, walking along and you notice one of the ends of the Marquee Obsidian is like, there's people repairing, like it seems like it's caved in at some point and people are like repairing it.
Whoops.
Given that you're not far away from Ace Alley, it's probably related to the collapsed arena that you were in once. You walking around looking at this stuff and you're asking Murphy about his favorite stalls. And then you walk straight into the leg of Mr. Marvelous.
Oh my god. Of course I do.
And you like bump into him and you step back and you realize who it is. He's like, do you mind? Oh. It's you. I didn't realize they let rats into the Marquee these days.
Oh, it's okay. I'm sure you're fine here.
Mr. Marvelous is wearing like an emerald green suit and he's puffing on a awfully smelly cigar. He's standing in front of a counter of like a store called the Chop Shop. And he takes a watermelon-sized brown paper parcel off the counter and takes a deep puff on his cigar. And he crouches down and he gets in your face and he's like, oh, I would love the chance to gut you, pest. But there's strictly no violence in the Marquee. You got lucky, and I got places to be.
Okay, good chat. Nice suit.
And you, Mick Saul.
Murphy Maxwell.
I heard you were on the level, but you're working with this pest, huh? I guess that makes you a rat, too. Maybe there's some credence to this rumor that I've been hearing that you were recently seen entering the Imperial Palace. And Murphy's like, I don't know what you're talking about, bub. I'm just here to do business, same as you. Beat it. Mr. Marvelous is like, kind of like impressed a little bit. He's like, well, look at the stones on you. Perhaps I touched a nerve.
Maybe you're just jealous that you can't con the palace like this guy can.
I'll see you out there, Mr. Onagon. And just like that, Mr. Marvelous and his little entourage of goons leave, and he knows your name.
Oh, yeah! How do they know my name? How do you guys know my name? I don't wear my badge when I'm out. Oh, and he like sees his like badge on his briefcase.
So
And he's like,
lanyard just like, oh shit. Murphy also wants to visit the chop shop, and he asks to look at the back at the special merchandise. And so you're led into the back where the temperature is a lot lower. It's like a chilled room. And the creepy butcher-type worker leads you to a large table with a cloth draped over it. And they say, "No haggling, fixed price only," says the butcher, who then pulls the cloth off the table. Roll me a nature check.
oh my gosh, I'm not rolling very well. 9.
Flynn, it takes a second to realize what you're looking at. Like, it takes a little longer than you're proud of to realize what you're looking at. But when you do, your heart skips a beat. Laying across this table are scales, teeth, claws, wing leather, and haunting red eyeballs.
Oh my god. Is that my red dragon?
Dragon parts, all carved up, are being sold in the criminal underworld. Fero's final resting place, desecrated by the black market of Yamir City.
I mean, it fits, but that's pretty depressing.
Flynn, you've leveled up.
Woo! Happy!
So pretty easy, short level up for you. This level, I believe you gain 1 main advantage. Is that right?
Yes, I get 1 level 6 spell. My first level 6.
So we were just talking earlier about what spell you were going to choose. Have you made your decision?
That was a secret. So yes, I was stuck between 2 spells: the Find the Path or the Dancing. Otto's Dancing or something or other. But I think I'm going to go for the Find the Path.
Okay, interesting. So I'm going to allow a little bit of bending to this spell because it's a 6th level spell. So I'm going to let you use it to find people, but with a caveat that, like, you have to own something of theirs, and it'll only take you to the last place that they were in for a long time. So it won't take you to where they're moving around to their exact location. But what you might be able to find out is, for example, where they last slept, if you're looking for a person.
And Flynn particularly chose this because he would like to ask the party for an item from each of them that they've held for a long time or is very obviously theirs, so that if any of them are in trouble, they can help the other one.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That's
he's quite loyal to his friends.
lovely.
Nice.
He doesn't want the away team to be away.
Karen,
Yes.
you're at work, concentrating hard on your task at hand. Things always get knuckle down busy in the winter, so you barely flinch when Darlene approaches you unexpectedly. Excuse me, Mrs. Stonecutter, but your meeting in conference room B is all ready for you.
Thank you so much, Darlene.
Roll me an insight check.
Natural 1.
Seems legit.
Cool.
Yay!
Maybe you forgot that you had a meeting.
It's been very busy. But she doesn't show that to Darlene. She's like, "Thank you, Darlene."
So Darlene walks with you to conference room B. And upon entering the room, you see, sitting a little pushed back from the head of the table, dressed in a grand robe, with his blonde hair shining and his facial features ever perfect, Master Speck, waiting expectantly.
It's your favourite visitor.
To his left, the person sitting in the dark cloak sits unmoving. And from behind you, Darlene walks into the room as well and takes a seat to Speck's right, dropping the illusion of the company secretary to reveal Poet, dressed in his usual white suit and bowler hat.
Poet.
Master Speck gestures at a seat near you further down the board table, just like a random one along the sides. You have my attention. Please take a seat, Mrs. Stonecutter.
I take a seat opposite him.
At the very end of the table?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, perfect. He stares at you for a little while, just kind of taking you in. After you successfully slayed a dragon, and well done, by the way, I can see that you and I may one day stand on equal ground. I wanted to get a proper gauge of you to see whether you're an ally or an enemy.
Well, good news. I've wanted to get a gauge of you for a while as well, to see exactly the same thing.
I want you
Let's
to
talk.
tell me as often as you want to, like to roll insights and stuff. So you can push this as much as you want
Cool.
to. Yeah. You and yours have allied yourselves with the Empire. The Empire that had my mentor executed. You will excuse me if I withhold trust for the time being.
That's fair. It's not like I trust you either.
I will offer you an olive branch today. You need information, and I can provide it. And in return, I ask only one small thing of you, Mrs. Stonecutter.
And what is that, Master Spec?
You must fire Idopher Belsa.
Interesting. And why must I do that?
Roll me a persuasion check.
Oh my god. 10.
He's very, composed, and he just says, he deserves better than cleaning your waste.
I mean, he not wrong, but,
Gotta start somewhere.
I'm not setting him loose to the wolves.
Do you want information or don't you? This is my cost.
I'm interested in what information you think you can possibly give me at this point.
He just sits and he waits for as long as it takes for you to either say you will or say you won't.
And what if I say I will?
Then I will answer your questions.
Any question I have?
Some. I will tell you what I know. Let us call this little room a zone of truth for the time being.
Okay. I will do what I can. What is in my power?
He smiles to himself because he knows that's all he's getting out of you. Once upon a time, I was recruited by a woman named Uzziah Jet to help kill the gods. I suspect you know this already.
I know you were there as a young child.
That's right.
There was a harvest god.
That was a long time ago, but that is right. That's the first one we ever killed.
Why?
Because they needed to go. Before we acted, mortals were trapped beneath the thumb of the selfish and the greedy. If you didn't worship, you were punished. And if you did worship, you were exploited. You were manipulated. You were used. We changed that. We fixed the world. And he looks around the boardroom at the paintings and the logos. And he says, and then you all turned around and enslaved one another instead. You exchanged the gods for the rich, and the rich told you it was all Uzziah's fault. She saved you, and you killed her for it. I wanted to tell you, Mrs. Stonecutter, that the man who held your amulet before you was a Goliath named Wilhelm. He was one of the fiercest, most relentless, most terrifying warriors I have ever seen in combat. And the reason that you hold that amulet in the first place, the reason that you can even have it, is because I killed him.
Insight roll.
Yeah, roll me an insight.
22.
He is not lying.
Oh.
I killed him with my own two hands. And the same goes for your friends. I outsmarted Brum the Wizard. I sunk Umbria's Soul's ship, and I watched her drown and burn at the same time. And when Prince Sixandrius cowered behind his people, it helped him none.
And Uzziah?
The Empire killed Uzziah.
Insight check.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
15.
He is not lying.
Okay.
I shed tears for Uzziah. She was my hero.
Was she the first? Or did you betray the rest of them before anybody else?
She died first. And then I decided that I wanted to make things better. And when Uzziah's followers would not help me, I took what I needed from them. And somehow, they ended up with you.
You're welcome.
First of all, rude.
Master Spec, I don't think you've saved the world. I don't think you've done the things that you thought you have. I think you've just plunged us into a different kind of slavery. One that you don't even know exists. You're killing us all. And I'm here to stop you.
Was there a question coming?
How do you live with yourself?
You sleep at night.
How do you sleep at night knowing that you are Matt Zemler's butcher?
When I was a child, I was recruited for a cause.
Again, still.
As it turned out, that cause had unintended consequences. Mm-hmm. But what do you think I'm doing right now?
I think you're trying to make it worse.
He, goes to talk and then, chuckles to himself and, closes his mouth again. And he, reaches up and touches his face and kind of, wipes underneath his eye a little bit. But there's no, you don't see any tears. He's just, it's a little weird. It's a little strange. And then he reaches his palm out towards, a bottle of water on the table, and it levitates and, tips a little bit of water into a glass. Some spills a little bit, and then the bottle comes down, and then the glass, picks itself up and floats over toward him. He doesn't catch it with his regular hand. The floating glass just tilts a little bit next to his mouth so that he can sip it, and then it levitates back down to the table next to him.
So extra. Just use your hand.
This world is broken, Master Spec.
I'm aware, and you are doing nothing to help.
And neither are you, as far as I can tell.
You don't know what I'm doing.
I know that you are coming into my place of work. You are demanding that I fire my employees. You are disrespecting my private life.
Shut up. I hate people like you. You don't like me, but I don't like you either. You're perfectly happy to live with your rich husband and your spoiled children in the city, surrounded by people who will suffer. What have you done to help the slums? Nothing. You've done plenty to help the Empire, though, haven't you? The Emperor benefits from your existence, where the tieflings and the poor and those in the south do not. You're playing with the big kids now, Mrs. Stonecutter. I'm here to tell you in no uncertain terms. Do not fuck with me. Do not disrespect me. Do not stand in my way. And in return, I will offer you these same courtesies.
Good. Master Spec, how many gods did you kill? Your little pand.
Enough. Maybe 30, maybe more. There are many, many more, but we never got a chance to get our hands on them.
And what you're doing now, the way that you're raising yourself up, gaining power, is that so you can get the rest of them?
I'm going to fix this world once and for all.
Don't like the way that you said that. It's like you're going to fix a dog. You're not an owner. You're a resident. You do well to remember that, Master Spec. You're just the same as the rest of us, really.
You and the common folk have showed me that when you are handed the world, you will turn on one another. So I'll fix it for you.
You sound like a dictator, you know? Don't you? Me, actually. I've had quite enough of your snarky little your silly little oohs, and the way that you purport to have power and influence over everybody else. Master Spec, you are not respectable. And I do not respect you. And I do not accept you as my dictator. Because that is what you're trying to be, Master Spec. You're trying to be a dictator, just like everybody else on this planet. You're as common as muck, and I hope you realize that. And Karen storms out of the room.
You don't want to, that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
She just wanted to insult him.
She just wanted to insult him.
Yeah, after a few seconds, you receive a sending spell.
Ugh.
I do not care for liars, Mrs. Stonecutter. I will return here in 30 days, and if Idopher Belsa is still enslaved when I do, I will burn this place to the ground.
Ooh, okay.
How exciting.
And you sit back down at your desk, and you're wondering they never come out of the room. You don't see them get up and leave and sign out on their way out. Is Karen shaken from the encounter? Is she
Oh, absolutely. The reason that she stormed out is because she couldn't really keep it in anymore. She was about to rage and jump over the table, and she was like, you know what? Not in the workplace. Not in the workplace. The table is mahogany.
Karen, you've leveled up.
Yay!
Yay!
What do you get as a level 11 barbarian?
It's a pretty simple level up. Although I do get something very fun, because now that I'm level 11, my rage can prevent me from being reduced to 0 HP.
You get so angry that you
Nice.
refuse to die.
I can get so angry that I literally refuse to die.
That is great.
The following weekend, the four of you meet up at Idopher's home. He lives closest to the centre circle, and you're walking together through the city, heading for your usual shopping trip. You arrive at the plaza next to the centre circle, and instinctively you freeze. Murphy's Honest Goods is swarming with guards who appear to be moving his regular stock of tools and sundries out into the street.
I'm gonna exclaim out loud. I'm gonna be like, but this is where I get my potpourri.
I love it.
Exactly. What's going on?
The potpourri place.
One of the human guards just tells you that they're investigating an anonymous tip that this store is supplying illegal magic artifacts to the criminal underworld.
Bitches.
Oh, ridiculous.
What?
Pish posh.
Well, we can't find the owner anywhere or the store hand, so if you happen to see them, we just want to talk to them. We're just following up on this tip.
Oh, we will let you know if we see them, that's for sure.
Please, this can't be... You can't just go into a person's store without even knowing where they are.
Ma'am, we're the Yamir City Guard. We're just doing our job. We're trying to keep you safe. Please
I feel
don't
perfectly
worry.
safe in the store.
Just move away from the crime scene, and once we're finished and we've spoken to the owner, it'll be open for you to use again.
This is the potpourri store. It's not a crime scene.
I wonder if there's been search sale that will happen. I want my shovel on sale.
Oh, actually, now that I think about it, potentially.
Yeah, so let's go, guys, and then we can come back when they're finished, and everything will be on sale.
Sounds good.
So you guys move a little bit away.
Yeah.
Frankie would get out of earshot, or at least out of view of guards, and use the stone to be like, Murphy, are you okay? What's going on?
Who's listening?
Oh, did you lose track of your boyfriend?
Idopher, now is not the time.
It's always a good time, Karen.
Murphy, it's just...
Where the hell are you, Murphy?
It's just us. They're searching your store.
Yeah, someone did the dirty on me and tipped off the guard. I think maybe the underworld labeled me a rat after I warned the A sisters about the dragon.
Can't imagine why they'd call you a rat.
Idopher.
Look, they won't find the showroom, they won't find my books, but I gotta go dark for a little bit, so I can't tell you where I am.
That's such a shame, Murphy. We'll give you a little time alone. And Karen's just kind of pull Idopher and Flynn away from Frankie with the sending stone.
Oh, like time alone, like them time alone.
like them time alone.
Hey, Francis.
Hey, Murphy, he says in tears.
Oh my god.
Hey, I'm sorry. I think maybe we won't see each other for a little while.
Oh my god.
That's okay, as long as I know you're okay.
I'll be alright. I'm just gonna keep to myself for a little bit. You keep going, okay?
I will, he says, and eyes just welling up, and yeah, he's a mess.
You guys are my favorite customers. You've saved my life a couple of times in my store, and I wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't met you guys, so take it easy, okay?
For you, I will. He's all being heroic and wiping away his tears so no one sees him cry.
The winter sets in, and with it, rain and sleet and snow descend on you. You get back into your regular lives, but something feels different. Something feels off. You find yourselves looking over your shoulders more often, trusting new people at the office a little less. You walk down darkened streets ready to summon your weapons at a moment's notice, and you sleep lightly, cautiously, alert to danger and sounds. Flynn, one night, not long after you met up with Murphy, You wake to someone hammering on your door. You can barely hear anything over the hounding rain, so you listen for a moment more. Maybe it was just thunder. Maybe you just imagined it. Welby crawls up on your shoulder, comforting himself against your neck, and a flash of lightning, for a moment, illuminates your room. Flynn, what do you do?
Oh, okay. Assuming Nimbus isn't in the room with me.
No, it's the middle of the night.
Okay. I'm going to get up in my PJs and wrap my robe around me. But I'm going to have a dagger out behind, like, just tucked into my dressing gown.
Okay.
Yeah, and I open the door.
It's Cassie.
Oh!
Cassie!
Oh my!
She's out of breath
Oh.
and soaking wet and terrified.
Oh.
And she says to you, Flynnvar, it's very bad. We need your help. Welcome and salutations. I was supposed to ask you some riddles, but some spoil sport already solved them. So I'll just thank you for listening to the episode and remind you that you have nothing if you don't have style.